Wonder what's keeping Rusty. Should be home by now.
He'll be along. Court doesn't adjourn till 4 or 5 o'clock.
Oh, it was such a lovely day. It's a shame he couldn't be outside playing in the fresh air.
Look, let's not get on the fresh air kick again, huh? This lawyer fellow Schneiderhoff was nice enough to invite some of the boys from school down to court to see a real case being tried. It's the least I can do as a father to see to it that my son takes advantage of the opportunity. Of course, Rusty screamed. He wanted to stay home and play ball in the fresh air, but I insisted he should go. I think the experience will be real great for him.
Oh, I know, honey, but he's just a normal little boy, and I'm sure he'd rather be outside than in a stuffy courtroom.
Darling, I was a normal little boy, too, and I wanted to be outside playing. But I did what my father told me to do because I loved my father, I respected him, and I admired him. And I'm very happy to say that my son feels the same way about me.
Of course he does, darling.
You betcha he does. As far as he's concerned, I am the #1 person on this earth. And as long as my boy feels that way about me, fortunately, I want to use this influence for his good. Now, I say that he will learn today a respect for the law that'll be with him as long as he lives. Believe me, you wait and see.
Daddy, it was wonderful. Kathy, you should have seen it.
What did I tell you? You liked it, huh?
Yeah, did I? Boy, you should have seen him.
Him? Who him? The judge?
No, Charlie's father, Mr. Schneiderhoff.
Oh, the lawyer fellow. But tell me about the judge. Was he wearing a black robe?
Yeah, boy, is he important. You should have seen him.
The judge?
No, Mr. Schneiderhoff.
Oh.
Your Honor, I inject.
Inject?
Yeah, when the other lawyer asked the question, Charlie's father kept jumping up and saying, I inject.
Oh.
I inject on the grounds that the question is irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Irrelevant.
Yeah, irrelevant, irresponsible, and some kind of material.
Immaterial?
Yeah, immaterial. And then the judge hit the table with his hammer and said, injection sustained.
Objection.
Sustained. And then Charlie's father said...
Oh, wait a minute. Hold it. All right, it's fine about Charlie's father, but weren't you impressed with anything else? With the court of justice, the equality?
Sure, it was all right. But then Charlie's father asked the witness a lot of questions. And one place, all the people applauded him. And the judge rapped on his desk and said, order in the court! Order in the court! But you could see he liked what Charlie's father said, too.
Yeah, well, that's fine, son. That's very fine. But I didn't send you to court to watch Charlie's father. I mean, I want you to see the machinery of justice.
And then Charlie's father said...
All right, with Charlie's father on.
Daddy means it's nice that you liked Charlie's father, but there were more important things to see in court.
There were?
Yes.
What?
What do you mean, what? The judge, the bailiff, the witnesses, the jury.
Oh, yeah, the jury.
Well, you like the jury, huh?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
You should have seen the way they listened to Charlie's father.
Charlie's Will you cut it out with Charlie's father?
Oh, honey, calm down.
What? Calm down. Here our boy watches the judicial process, a process that's been 1,000 years developing, the cornerstone of civilization. And the only thing that impressed him is Charlie's father?
Yeah. Boy, Charlie's lucky.
Why, because his father's a lawyer?
Yeah.
Rusty, I'm sure Mr. Schneiderhoff is a very nice man, and Charlie has every right to be proud of him. But your father's also an important man. When he entertains on a nightclub floor, everybody watches him. And they applaud very hard. You have every right to be proud of your father, too, Rusty.
Oh, I am.
Good.
But Charlie's father...
All right. Why don't you go do your homework?
I don't have any.
Well, wash up for dinner.
It's only 5 o'clock.
Well, brush your teeth.
You're supposed to brush after you eat.
Well, eat a cracker first.
Oh, darling, don't take him so seriously.
I like that Schneiderhoff guy. Conceited. Takes the kids to court just to watch him work. On a nice sunny day when he could be getting some fresh air. No, I could take the kids to the nightclub to watch me work, too.
Oh, You wouldn't do a thing like that.
Of course I wouldn't. How could a guy be so conceited? How could he be such a show-off? How about tomorrow night?
Now, honey, you wouldn't keep those little boys out so late.
Well, tomorrow's Friday. There's no school the next day. They could catch the early show, have dinner, then we'll take them home.
Now, settle down. You shouldn't be jealous of Mr. Snyderhoff.
Not jealous.
Oh, no. You're just a little green around the edges.
Well, guy doesn't like to hear his son bragging about some other kid's father. Pretty clever, that fella, come to think of it. Taking those kids down there with his own son and impressing them, watching them work. What if the kids took a nap when they come home from school? You're a big help.
Oh, honey, you wouldn't want to drag those little boys to your club just to satisfy your vanity. You're too big a man for that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not such a big man with my son right now.
Daddy?
What?
I'm getting tired of those comic books. Have we got any legal books around?
If you don't cut out this legal stuff, you're going to need a big, fat legal book to put in the seat of your pants.
Gosh, Daddy, what's wrong with wanting to be a big lawyer like Charlie's father?
Nothing. It's fine and dandy.
Oh, boy, you bet it is. You know, I wish you were a lawyer.
Look, you're just going to have to get along with the kind of father you got. I'm just an entertainer.
Rusty, tomorrow when you come home from school, I want you to take a nap.
What for?
Because you're going to be out later than usual tomorrow night. Daddy's invited you and all the boys that went to court with you today to come and watch him perform at the club.
No kidding, really?
Mm-hmm.
Really, Daddy?
Yes, really.
Boy, wait till I tell the fellas!
That was sweet. Did you know something?
What?
Now I kind of wish you hadn't done that.
Why?
I don't know. All of a sudden, I got a small case of butterflies.
Honey, you're not nervous about performing before a bunch of children.
Not just for a bunch of children. I got to make good with my son.
Oh, you just do as you always do, and you'll be fine.
I don't know, honey. I never have any trouble following acts, you know. I've followed dog acts and jugglers and clowns and ventriloquists and even seal acts. But this is the first time I've ever had to follow Charlie's father. I'm just a kid again, doing what I did again, singing a song when the red, red robin comes bobbing along. What if I've been blue? Now I'm walking through fields of flowers. Rain may glisten, oh, but still I listen for hours and hours. I'm just a kid again, doing what I did again. Oh, singing a song when the red, red robin, oh, the red, 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 red robin, when the red, red robin comes a-bobbing along. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you may have suspected already, and if you haven't, I'll tell you. These young gentlemen, escorted by my lovely wife, are my guests of honor here tonight, and my entire performance I dedicate to them. And as an inspiration to them, I should like to sing a song that is near and dear to my heart. It is the alma mater of my hometown. It's called We Are Strong for Toledo. We're strong for Toledo, Ohio. Majestically she stands, the 34th largest city in the United States. Famous for the manufacture of the Vilbus atomizers. What's so funny, lady? Toledo, Ohio happens to be famous for a lot of things. Toledo, Ohio, for your information, my tittering friends, happens to possess the second largest iron ore docks in America. And she is the third largest railway center in the Western Hemisphere. The home of Joey Brown, Otto Kruger, Frank Stranahan, Michael V. DeSalle, and the internationally famous Honest Precision No Springs Toledo scale. Toledo, Ohio is a progressive little city. Played an integral part in the war effort, and it'll do it again and again when called upon. The gateway to the Great Lakes. It's right near Cleveland. My hometown. The dirtiest city in the United States. Well, it's not, but you're making fun of everything nice I say about it. It is a very clean city. Wonderful city. I was raised there. I was forced up. I was brought up in the North End. What a neighborhood. There wasn't a boy in my block that didn't have every opportunity to die in the electric chair. We invented juvenile delinquency. We used to play games like Spin the Policeman. Toughest, roughest kids you ever saw. Snarling, clawing our way for an existence in an asphalt jungle. Rarely ever went to school. Oh, those poor sisters. They used to run around looking for pupils to come to the school. We used to take off on every holy day, regardless of the faith. Even Buddha was a big man in my neighborhood. Tough kids. Real rough. I was back home a couple of years ago putting on a big benefit show to help rebuild the school. And I was met at the Toledo airport. I was taken out to the convent where the good sisters live, the sisters that used to teach us, the Ursuline sisters. I was ushered into the office of the Mother Superior. There she sat. Old Ironsides herself. My fourth grade teacher. She is still the Mother Superior of Ursuline Academy. And she looked up at me, recognized me, and her eyes just filled with tears. She hadn't aged a minute. Beautiful white skin and steel blue eyes that were now filled with tears. She got up from her desk, came around, put a hand on my shoulder and said, "Blessed be the Lord. It's really you. I was sure you were executed long ago." That's a true story. Oh, we gave those ladies such a time. Those kids were so tough. We had a kid in our school named Red Murphy. He used to snarl at people. Hated anybody with a face. Red Murphy was really a tough kid. And he loved gangster movies. And he came home from the movies one day and said, "Hey, Ma. Ma. Level with me, babe. Is it true what they say, Ma? The good Lord gives us our daily bread?" She said, "Yes, dear." He said, "And Santa Claus brings the toys?" She said, "Of course." He said, "And the stork brings the baby?" She said, "Naturally." He said, "Why don't you let me bump off the old man? We don't need her." He had no use for his father because his father was chicken. He wouldn't steal. But he idolized his grandfather. His grandfather in his younger days was a professional gambler. And Grandpa Murphy, wherever he went, He walked, he talked, he breathed gambling. But now, he was old as men should get, and he could barely hear. And he carried one of these old-fashioned ear trumpets, biggest one I ever saw. And we played him a dirty trick with it. I shouldn't say this in front of the kids. They're liable to get ideas, but we filled his ear trumpet up with ice cubes. And every time he walked, the cubes would rattle. It drove him nuts going around town all day trying to locate the crap game. When my father found out I was in on that horrible joke, he liked to pull my ear off. He was a disciplinarian, my father. My father was a father. Not like your father. My father was the boss of his house, not a guest in it like your father. Brother, I remember one time my father caught me stealing a nickel from the sugar bowl. He gave me a spanking I couldn't sit down for a week. To this day, when I reach for a cube of sugar, I have an urge to stand up. And I say that's the way to bring up children. You can have psychology books for your birthday. We're bringing ours up by the books. Aren't we, dear? Most spoiled brats you ever saw in your whole life. When my father used to come home from work, he'd let out one roar. All us kids used to run for cover. I can't even raise my voice. My wife says, don't do that. They'll be frustrated. I'd like to get her out of the house for a week. I'll show her how to defrustrate them. Our kids really get away with murder today. Like my daughter, Terry, when she wants to stay out late, you know, I blow my stack. Then my wife comes running. She's educated, you know. I've had only 1 year of high school. My children are educated. My wife is educated. They speak to me through an interpreter. So she comes running. She says, I'll handle this. I'll handle this. You know, she's psychology discipline. She says, now, don't stay out too late, Terry. You'll be denied some privileges. Denied some privileges. Like no shopping at Saks tomorrow. Such privileges we deny our children. My father had the system to get us home early. If I wasn't home by 10 o'clock, he'd rent out my room. And don't think he was a mean man. He wasn't. He was a good man, a kind man, but a disciplinarian. You had it coming, you got it. There was no court of appeals. What do you think is the big punishment in our house? He'll tell you. The biggest punishment in our house. You must have it in your house, too. When I get real mad, I say, all right, I've had it. Go to your room. Boy, there's a cruel punishment. Go to your room. In the room is a television set, a hi-fi, box of candy, books. I should have had such a room when I was a kid. I'd have never left it, never. My father used to say, go to the woodshed. I'll be right there. He always showed up. Go to your room. And with it all, he wasn't a mean man. He's a kind man, a good man. I remember we had so very little of the material things of life. We were very poor people. It's not a nice thing to say. It's nothing to be proud of. Yet it's nothing to be ashamed of. I tell you publicly, we were very poor people. I know when it was time for me to start school, the folks decided I better wear pants. Up until then, I was wearing my sister's old dresses. Very embarrassing for me, especially at the pool room when I leaned over to make a shot. Now, my folks had no money to buy pants for me. And my father made a supreme sacrifice. He had a three-piece suit. He gave up the vest. My mother made my first pair of pants for me out of my father's vest. I was the only kid in school with 11 buttons down the back. Every time I sat down, I sounded like Jose Greco with his castanets. We were very poor people, I tell you, that we had onions and potatoes fried in lard more than 4 times a week. And my dad used to say, count your blessings. We'd all get up and say, where, Pa, where? I thought he had a few frankfurters stashed away somewhere. He'd say, you silly kids, the material things you're worried about. You're worried about material things. What about your freedom? What about this great land that you take for granted? and that we, the immigrants, know and appreciate how much blood was spent to gain this freedom and to maintain it. The right to speak, the right to pray, the right to congregate. So many rights you have. You're worried about material things? Let me read you a poem. And he took out a book of poetry by Robert Burns, the famous Scottish poet. And he read a short poem. I heard it when I was 9 years old. If I live to be 109, it'll always ring in my ears. My father's voice speaking Mr. Burns' immortal words. They went like this. All men were born alike in each and every nation. We would all have been the same, but for wealth and education. But when we lie beneath the sod and 100 years to back it, who can tell which are the bones that wore the ragged jacket? Ladies and gentlemen, I seem to have gained your respect, and I trust it will not cause a breach in our newfound friendship if I sing now, We're Strong for Toledo. Hey, we're strong for Toledo. Toledo. Where the girls are the fairest and the boys the squarest of any old town that I know. We're strong for Toledo. That's the place where the Maumee River flows. And in any old weather, we'd all stick right together in my hometown, Toledo, Ohio. Come on in.
Daddy, you were wonderful.
Thank you, son. You really enjoyed it, huh?
Did I? Boy, did you hear him laugh? Did you hear him applaud? You were great. And all the guys thought so too, didn't you guys?
And how?
You sure are great, Mr. Williams.
I'll say.
Boy, I wish my father could make people laugh like you can.
Thank you, son. Thank you. Was I as good as Charlie's father?
Charlie's father?
Now, that's not nice. You mustn't say that about Charlie's father. I'm sure he's a wonderful man. But I'm glad you all had a good time.
We sure did.
Good.
I guess we better pay off now.
Later, fellas, later.
What?
Go ahead, Rusty. Take it. You won the bet.
Bet? Rusty, what's this all about?
What's going on here?
Well...
What? Well, no. Well, what is it?
Well, I refuse to answer on account of it may tend to incriminate me.
Look, let's stop with the legal jargon right now. I don't like this. Now, why are the boys paying you off in baseball pictures? What went on?
Well, I got pretty sick of hearing the guys rave about what a big shot Charlie's father is just because he took us to court, so I had to figure out a way to get you to take us down here to the nightclub.
You mean all that stuff yesterday about Charlie Schneiderhoff's father, that was all an act?
Well,
Well, why didn't you just come right out and ask me?
I know you. You would have said, what? Take a bunch of kids to a nightclub and they should be in bed. You're out of your cotton-picking mind.
He certainly does know you, honey.
I don't know whether to slug him or hug him.
Do you have a choice?
Boy, that was some act you put on yesterday.
Wasn't it, though? I guess maybe I'll become an actor like you when I grow up.
I should say not. Anybody who's got a brain that could devise such a scheme as you did yesterday shouldn't be wasted on the stage. There's only one thing for you to be.
What's that?
A lawyer like Charlie's father.